Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's my February wrap-up video. Are we excited? How many books did I read? I read 11 books in February, which is a lot more than I thought. I thought I was only gonna get to like 8 maybe, but here they all are. It's heavy. I don't know how I'd classify this reading month. I got like 4, 5 stars. It is thunderstorming right now, so if you hear thunder, sorry, can't help the weather. I'm excited to talk about these books. I had some really good reads, had some not so great reads, but let's just get right into it. So I started off the month with Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is my first book by this author, and I was really excited to read this book because I've heard so many great things. Basically, this book follows Alex and Henry. Alex's mom is the president of the United States and Henry is the prince of somewhere in England. I don't want to read about it, but they obviously have a relationship. It's my first romance that I've ever read. I did rate it 3 stars. I didn't love it. It wasn't very good. It was so unbelievably long. I couldn't take it. I literally just wanted to finish the book. I wanted to get this over with because it was so long. I was like, there were some really good parts in this book, but everything dragged along. I was like, this could have been over at 300 pages, but it's over 400 pages. It's like 420 pages. That is so long. And it's not like this was a slow burn either. That's what I thought because it was such a long book. I was like, maybe it's just a slow burn. It's not a freaking slow burn. So I'm like, what is happening? What really irks me is the author just told you this is what happened. Like, we did this. I traveled here and we did this. I'm like, I want to be there. I want to read about it. I just don't want to be told that something happened. Like, obviously they had to meet at like Germany or something, and they're like, oh, we spent the weekend in Germany having fun. I'm like, I want to live in the weekend of Germany. I want to see what you guys did. I want to read about it. And it was just so bothersome because you were just told what would happen rather than reading about it. And that's something that really irks me in romance books. I'm like, I want to be a part of the moments that you guys spend together so I could really feel connected. They went from hating each other to like loving each other like that. I don't know. It was like the pacing of it was so wrong with the length of this book. All right, my next read was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This is a thriller. I read this in a day. I started in the morning, I finished it at night. Like, this book, you cannot put it down. You don't want to put it down. It's so fast paced. It was so good. I rated it 5 stars, like literally so good. I just bought the second one that came out at the end of February. So this follows Millie. She gets hired at the Winchester's house to be a housemaid, obviously. And Nina is the mother. So there's the mother, the husband, so the wife, the husband, and then the child. So Nina is the wife and she hires her. She goes through like really different phases of emotions and you just are so sketched out about her. And you kind of just go through the secrets as she unfolds. Like, she unfolds secrets of the Winchester house, of their family, of their past. And it's so interesting. And I couldn't stop reading about it. I was like, I want to know what happens. The plot twist in this was not expecting at all. Literally, the plot twist got me. I never would have expected it ever. And I'm very excited to read the second book because it kind of hinted on what's going to happen in the second book. And wow. There's like, you go through so many different emotions in this book and it moves so fast you don't know how to catch up to your emotions as it's happening, and it's just a mind twist. Like, you're just like, what is happening? It's so good. I recommend this, and I don't normally love mystery thrillers, so I really recommend this. Oh god. The next book is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This was a 5 stars. It was so good. I see why everybody loves this book. It did take me like 6 days to finish, but it's the biggest book I've ever read. Oh my god, I freaking love this book so much. I wish I like had annotating stuff, and I wish I would have annotated it because I was like, ugh. Rhysand is so hot. I love Rhysand. Is it Rhysand or Rhysand? I think it's Reese and I don't know. Reese is so freaking hot and he's literally amazing. And like the little plot twist in this, you are not expecting it. And it was so good. At first, like for the first like 100, 200 pages, I was like, why is this everybody's favorite book? It's kind of boring. I was basically only reading this for Reese. But then as you like move into like book 2 and book 3, you're like, okay, I understand the love for this book. It's so good. It's so amazing. And you really fall in love with the characters in this book. A lot of people don't love Nessa in here. And like everybody's like, I'm so nervous now for her book. And I'm like, I see where she's coming from though. Like I understand her. Like obviously I don't love her. She obviously has some faults in her. But I'm like, I couldn't absolutely hate her. Like I would be fine reading her book because I don't hate her. I understand her, I just don't like some of the things she says. But I'm so excited to continue on with the series. This was probably my favorite book this month, so. The next book that I read was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This, I had to give Lynn Painter a second shot. I did read Better Than the Movies last year, and I didn't love it. It was a 3.5. It wasn't my favorite, so I was like, I need to give Lynn a second shot. I need to give her a second shot just to see what it's about. But this follows Emily, and she basically relives the same Valentine's Day over and over. It's a Groundhog type of day thing. So obviously I had to read it on Valentine's Day, which I did. I gave this one a 3 stars. I also did not enjoy it as much. There is some like cute moments in here, but I don't know. I just don't love it. I don't love Lynn Painter's writing. It's not very enjoyable for me, and I don't know. It didn't hit for me that much, and it wasn't amazing. I don't know. I didn't feel connected to the characters. I think that Lynn Painter's writing just isn't for me. I would like to give her adult books a try because I've read only YA books by her, but I don't know. I honestly will probably give up on Lynn Painter, which sucks because a lot of my favorite booktubers love her books, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it. And I also don't love the Groundhog Day type thing. I don't love the time loop. It's not my favorite thing. It always follows the same pattern. The only good thing about this book was like the Donk Day. Like that's what made the story a little bit different, a little bit more exciting, but overall I didn't love it. The next book I read was Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. I was so excited to read this book because I've heard such amazing things about this series. This is the first book in the Eden series. It follows Winslow and Griffin. Oh my god. It follows Winslow and Griffin. Winslow just moves to Quincy, Montana. Her family is from there. So she moves there. She becomes the new chief of police. And then Griffin, the Edens are known, like they're basically like the founding family of Quincy, Montana. And basically there is a death that happens in Quincy, and obviously Winslow is covering it, and her and Griffin kind of work together. They start building a romance. I loved the little thing of mystery in here. It made the story really exciting. It made the like third act breakup conflict thing actually make sense, and it was understandable why, you know, they would kind of be upset with each other. So I really did enjoy that. I rated this 4 stars. It was really, really good. There isn't much I have to say about it. It was just like a good book, but it's not up there for 5 stars. But I did love Quincy, Montana. I loved the family. I loved the small town feel of the book. So obviously I bought the next book. I am very excited to continue on with the series. I love the characters. It's so good, and I just feel like it's going to get even better from here, especially already knowing the characters and already loving them. So the next book that I read was Ignite Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the 3rd book in the Shatter Me series. I rated this 5 stars. It was so good. I loved it. There were so many like crazy things happening in this book. I just couldn't put it down, and I couldn't just like leave it alone. It was so good. And Warner made my heart melt. He was so good. I'm just becoming more and more connected to the characters, and this book made me hate Adam with everything in me. So it made me feel so many different emotions, and I've become really connected in the world and with the characters, and I'm very excited to continue on with the series. The next book that I read was The Score by Elle Kennedy. This is the 3rd book in the Off-Campus series. This follows Dean and Allie, they had like a little one-night stand, and then Allie's like, never again, I don't want anything to do with you. And obviously Dean's like, wait, I kind of want you. And so he kind of grovels for her just a little bit, but he's also known as an F-boy, and so obviously there's so many things that happen with them. And Allie just broke up with her boyfriend, so she's kind of going through heartbreak too. So it just follows like so many things, but basically Dean is groveling, trying to get Allie back, and it worked. I rated this book 4 stars. I know a lot of people say this is like their favorite book in the series, which I get it. I think this is one of the better books in the series so far what I read, but The Deal is like my favorite, and then The Score, and then The Mistake of what I read so far. I liked Dean. I loved him at the second half. The first half, he was just like, okay, wait, hold on. I know why I rated it 4 stars. I kind of forgot. Some of the things that were said in this book gave me the ick, made me cringe so hard. I had to I was reading and I was like, I had to tell my boyfriend, like, please read this part and tell me what you think, because it made me just physically cringe. It was like so icky and weird, and the sex scenes were so cringy, and that's like, when it's cringy, it makes it bad, and it was really cringy. So 4 stars. The next book that I read was Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. This is the first book in the Vampire Academy series. This basically follows Lissa and Rose. Rose is like a guardian, and Lissa is a Moroi, which is like a vampire and a human, half and half. And you just kind of follow their story. I don't want to say much. I went into this blind, and honestly, I recommend it because it made stuff more surprising. But I ended up rating this 3 stars, and it was good. I'm excited to continue on with the series. Just nothing really happened in this book until like the last 50-40 pages. Everything, like, if there's conflict, it resolves up so quick that you don't even realize kind of what happened. It just was like, this happened, we went and saved this, and this is done. And I'm like, you'd think it'd take a little bit longer, you know, you'd make it more carried out, more exciting, but I'm excited to see where the series goes because it is a 6-book series, and I'm told that it gets so good. So I'm very excited. This just wasn't the best start to the series, but it was still 3 stars because the first books aren't always the best. The next book that I read was Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. So freaking good. This was 5 stars. I love Sophie Lark's writing now. I'm going to read every single book that she has ever made. And that is it. I'm going to. But this follows Aida, I don't know how to say her name, and Callum, and it's an arranged marriage, and they kind of hate each other. They're enemies to lovers, and I understand the strawberries now on the cover. So freaking good. I loved the characters, every single one of them. And now I'm so excited for the rest of the books because I love all the characters, and I'm so excited to see where the story goes. And I'm so excited. Oh my god, I can't wait. I loved this book. One of my favorite romances, probably my favorite romance book this month. It was so good. Then I read Babel by R.F. Kuang. I'm going to start out semi-rating, get it over with. I rated it 3 stars. A low 3 stars. Here's my thing. I loved the story. Like, I loved the themes and the thematics behind this. I loved that. I loved it. It was such a good story. You follow a Chinese American man and his other POC friends in the 1800s, in 1828. Like, you follow them going through that and experiencing racism. And it's such a good and powerful story of just, like, the underdogs working together to make the world a better place. Like, it's a really powerful and really good story, but the writing just isn't my favorite. I wanted to give this a try to maybe try out Poppy War in the future, but I don't think I'm gonna go along with Poppy War. The writing was very hard for me. Not hard, I wouldn't say, but it was very dull and very boring for me. The plot twists at the end of the book, yeah, those were good. Those got me. Those were good. But the writing isn't my favorite thing. In like the first half of the book, the linguistics, the language and stuff, the lectures, I was bored. I didn't love it. I didn't feel super connected to any of the characters except, what's his name, Rami. I was connected to him. It was just the writing and the way the story was told just wasn't for me. And the story overall, like the main like themes that you can take away from this is so powerful and so good. And I wish it was told a little bit differently. Like I wish it was a different way of writing, because it's just, the writing made the story really boring for me and really, I don't know. It just wasn't my favorite writing, and the first half wasn't my favorite, but the second half was really good. The next book I read was Twisted Love by Anna Huang. This follows Alex and, what is on my book? Sorry. Alex and Ava. Alex is Ava's brother's best friend. So brother's best friend trope, forbidden romance, forced proximity. So basically I will kill anybody who looks at you. I only have a soft spot for you kind of thing. I gave this book a 4 stars, and I know a lot of people don't love this book, and I understand, I get it, but I went into this book knowing that it's going to probably be cringy. It's going to be very protective, very annoying. It's just going to be something Wattpad-y, and I knew that. And I also grew up on Wattpad, so I do love me some Wattpad books. So I did end up rating it 4 stars. I did like it. It was fun. I liked the characters. It was just a fun story. It wasn't anything serious. It was definitely Wattpad-y, and I understand it. Some of these things in the book, though, were so outlandish. Like, Alex's story, I was like, what is happening in this book? Like, this is so much for me to take in, but overall, I did enjoy it. It was very interesting. The plot twists were kind of crazy. I was not expecting. The singing, that dropped it down to a 4. The singing alone dropped it down to a 4. That was a cringe. That was an ick. That's all I'm gonna say. But I did finish off the month on this, but it was good. It was fine. It was dandy. Those are the 11 books that I read in February. I think I did pretty good. The first half was a really good month, and then the second half kind of steered off differently. But I think my favorite books this month were Court of Mist and Fury and Brutal Prince. And Ignite Me. Those are my top 3 this month. And then The Housemaid. And then probably Indigo Ridge. Top 5. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please go check out my March TBR video so you can see what I'm reading this month. If you're wondering what I'm currently reading, it is Finley Donovan is Killing It. I will see you guys when I see you, because I'm terrible at uploading. School is kicking my butt. It's almost spring break though, so look out for that.